In this tutorial, we're going to explain how to use toolpath templates to automatically process and toolpath layered DXF files. The DXF files are typically the sorts of files drawn and designed using cabinet design software. For example, here in our two-dimensional view, we've got a cabinet that's been designed with each of the different elements in the cabinet placed on different layers in the DXF file. So for example, we've got the profile cutout passes for each of the panels, we've got the holes for the data for the drill holes, for the shelf holes, and we've got the data for each of the different types of dado. We can then assign different toolpaths to each of these different layers. After calculating the toolpaths, we can then use the option in the software to save a template file. When we save a template file, this allows us to reuse the different toolpaths that we've created on new projects in the future. Okay, let's close this file. So file close. No. Let's open a DXF file. Here we've got a DXF file that's been drawn using a cabinet design package. And we're going to cut this out of a sheet of material 96 by 48, and it's going to be 3/4 of an inch thick material. Click OK. If we open the layer manager now, you'll see that we've got the different layers. So we've got the cutouts, etc. Now I'm just going to organize the data a little bit. When I'm actually machining this cabinet on my CNC router, I'm probably going to do the cutouts last, so I'm going to move that to the bottom of the list, and I'm going to do the hole drilling for the shelf holes and hinge holes, so I'm going to do those first. So move those up, so shelf holes, hinge holes, then do the dados, and then do the cutouts. Okay, so we've organized the layers there for a moment. Let's just move this, drag this down for a moment. Swap to the toolpath tab on the right hand side of the screen. Check our material setting, 3/4 inch thick, retractive 1/4 inch. That's fine. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is create the hole patterns for the shelves. So if I double click, if I zoom in a little bit, you'll make it clearer. Double click on the layer name, automatically selects the vectors on that layer. With those selected, we're going to drill those circles. So drill. We're going to drill 3/8 of an inch deep with a 1/4 inch bit. Now by default, the selection mode is manual, so anything we drag and select or shift and select will get drilled. But because we're going to use this file as a template later on, we need to make the selection automatic. So selector, we're going to say select close vectors. Because we're drilling, we only want the software to select any circles, and we're going to tell it to select circles that appear on the layer called shelf holes. Make this association automatic, so in the future when we're working with toolpaths, we want the software to automatically pick out any circles on this layer and drill them. So close. So this is going to be called drill. Let's, just to make things neat and tidy, let's Control C, take the name there, Control V. So we'll use the same layer name for the actual toolpath name, automatic toolpath selection and calculation. So calculate. That's given us the drill hole pattern for the shelves. Next we're going to do the drilling for the hinge holes. So if we go back to the two-dimensional view, let's just zoom in so we can see. If we double click on the layer name, it's selected these additional hole patterns. Close the preview form. This is going to be another drilling pattern, so drill toolpath, same depth, same bit. We'll use the same trick with the name, so Control C and Control V. We don't want manual selection, we want it to be automatic, so select only circles that are on the hinge holes layer, and make it automatic again. Calculate. Let's just check that, so double click to edit, automatic selection. Check the first set of holes, automatic selection again. So now we've got an extra set of holes, we can preview that toolpath. You'll see we've got the holes drilled there. Next we're going to move on and look at the dados. So we go back to the 2D view, let's zoom in a little bit, double click, and the software automatically selects the dados on that layer. For this we're going to use a pocketing toolpath, so create pocket toolpath, 1/4 inch deep, 1/4 inch end mill. Selection mode, we don't want it to be manual. We're going to use the automatic selector again. So automatically select vectors that appear on that layer, so the backside dado, and automatically associate them with the toolpath. Let's do the trick of copy and paste on the layer name again. Layer name to be the toolpath name. Automatic selection and calculate. Double click to edit to check automatic. So there we've got the dado toolpath, so we can preview that toolpath. Next we move on to the side blind dado. So exactly the same process here. Double click to select. You'll see we've selected the vertical dado. Another pocketing toolpath. Same depth, same bit. Change it from manual to automatic selection. So select only on layer. This time we're looking at the sign blind dado. So we've gone to automatic selection. We'll change the name again. So for pocket 4, we use the same as the layer name here. So Control C, Control V, automatic selection and calculate. Preview that toolpath. Okay, we move down the list to the back top dado. So this is selected. Double click to select the dados there. Another pocketing toolpath. So pocket, same cutting parameters. Change it to be automatic selection. So select automatically any vectors that are on the back top dado layer. So here back top dado, automatic again. We use the same layer name, Control C, Control V for the toolpath name, automatic selection, calculate, preview that toolpath. We've got the extra dados there at the bottom. Go back to the 2D view. Now we're going to look at the little vertical blind dados. So this is a pocketing toolpath, so the final pocketing toolpath. Make the selection mode automatic again, so select, and we're going to select vectors only on this top blind dado layer. Automatic selection, calculate, preview that toolpath. Let's just check these again. So if we double click to edit, we've got automatic selection, but we've got the name wrong. So let's just double click to edit, use the same layer name. So Control C, Control V, calculate. Okay, that's better. And finally, we're going to cut the panels out. So to do that, 2D view, double click on the layer called cut, selects the required outlines, profile machine, around the outside, all the way through the 3/4 inch thick material, our 1/4 inch bit, and we're going to do a 0.6 of an inch pass, so it'll give us 2, so 0.6 then 0.75. Change this to be from manual selection to be automatic. So layers, all the layers that are on called cut, associate automatically. And let's use the same name here just to keep things everything standard. So Control V, calculate, preview that toolpath. So now we've got all of the toolpaths for the panels. Delete the waste material. That leaves us with the what we'd get off the CNC machine. So now at this point we could select each of these toolpaths in turn and save them with the right post processor. So we could select the post processor, select each one in turn, and then run those on the CNC machine. But the really powerful thing is the ability to now save all of this information as a master template. So to do that, we'd say save all visible toolpaths to a template file. And let's we'd save this file, and that can then be reused at a later date. So we've saved the master template file. If we say file close now, let's create a new blank sheet of material, 96 by 48, 3/4 of an inch thick. Click OK. We can use the gadget, the very clever gadget tool, the DXF batch processor. This allows us to select multiple files that exist in a folder. So here we've got a folder called cabinet parts. we select that folder, the software will open automatically any DXF files inside there. So we're going to tell it we want 2 drawings in each row, a gap of 10 inches between each drawing. We've already set up the material size. Click OK. The software tells us it's found 4 DXF files in that folder. Zoom out a little bit, you'll see the 4 different DXF files there, 1, 2, 3 and 4. We can now use the nesting functionality, so select all of the vectors, open the nesting tool, so nest, we're going to cut the shapes out with a 1/4 inch end mill, we'll leave an extra 0.1 of an inch gap. If we say nest, we now get the panels that we can cut onto sheet 1. If we double click on sheet 2, they're the panels that can be cut out of sheet 2, sheet 3 and sheet 4. So if we go back to sheet 1, close the nesting form, if we toggle back to the toolpath tab on the right, you'll see that we don't have any toolpaths loaded. So we've opened the 4 DXF files, we've nested them into sheets. We can now open our master template file. So there we've got the template. All of the toolpaths that were in the template have been opened. Now there's no real toolpath information there, just the basic setup files. And we can use the option to recalculate all toolpaths. The software is now telling me that it's recalculated all of the toolpaths for panel 1. So if we looked at this and preview the results, we'd say reset, preview all toolpaths. So all of the toolpaths being calculated for panel 1, so sheet number 1. So we cut these parts out, delete the waste material. They would be the parts for our first cabinet. Reset the preview for a moment. Now if we go, what we would do is we would select the save option, save these toolpaths and run and cut those panels on the CNC machine. Now if we go back to the 2-dimensional view, double click on sheet 2, so sheet 2 is selected and active. If we now say recalculate all again, the software's calculated all of the toolpaths for everything on sheet 2. We look in the 3-dimensional view, preview these toolpaths, so preview all toolpaths. You'll see that we get the toolpaths for the second sheet of material that we're going to put on the CNC machine. If we say delete waste material, that shows us the panels that would be cut out of the second sheet of material. Go back to the 2-dimensional view, select sheet 3, recalculate all the toolpaths again. That now tells me it's calculated all of the toolpaths for us. If we say reset the preview, we can now preview all toolpaths on that panel. We'd save the toolpaths at this point, so for each sheet of material we'd save all of the separate toolpaths and run them to cut the parts out of each panel. So that gives us the delete waste material, that gives us the panels or the sheets for panel 3. Back to the 2D view, double click to select sheet 4. Very quick and easy, just say recalculate all of the toolpaths again, and the software has now calculated the toolpaths for the parts on sheet 4. So very quick and easy, and it's really just a case of setting up the geometry on each layer. So if we say sheet 1, set up all the vectors on that layer to be on the correct layers, and then assigning different toolpaths to each of the different layers, so different toolpaths for different layers, and saving the information as a master template file that can be reused on future projects. Thank you.